This is a State of Affairs program on U24 television. I want to welcome you to this very important edition. I'm so much privileged that I've been joined by a very special team of guests joining us tonight, and we're going to be learning, inspired, and also going to be learning so much to do with our politics in our country. Tonight we're going to be looking at something that is shaping our politics in this country than before. We're talking about the new media, social media as you call it. And we're going to be looking at how it has shaped the politics of this country we call home, and that is Uganda. And specifically, we're going to look at the impact of social media on election campaigns and engagement. And I'm glad that I have people that have used this platform to engage with their with the youth and other people to make sure that they spread the gospel. But how are we spreading this gospel? Others have made it a priority to misinform and disinform the communities and the people of Uganda, well, as many others are using the platform for the good things. How should we then use this platform to educate the people of Uganda on voter education, on voter engagement, but also to educate the people on how they should use it? But we also have different institutions that are responsible for regulating this platform. That is Uganda Communications Commission and other responsible institutions of government. The team I have here, very energetic and young. You may say that they're the ones that are enjoying the platform. Then they're calling themselves the Gen Zs, contrary to other generations that have not so much engaged themselves on the platform or the social media or the new media. A privilege and honor to have, they always say ladies first. Oliko Brenda is a patriot and as well a lawyer. You're most welcome, Oliko.
Thank you so much for having me today, and hello to our viewers. I believe we're going to have a very fruitful interaction. Thank you so much for having me.
Interesting. We also have a privilege and honor to have Gidong Derek. He's this patriot but also a civil engineer. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you so much, Amon. It is a privilege to be here as well. I'm so delighted that we'll be here really discussing the state of our affairs in terms of social media. I am sure we'll have fruitful conversations.
To balance the panel, we have another patriot and is coming from the scientist sector and is a medical doctor. Is called Dan Kagaha at Waire. You're most welcome to this important edition.
Yeah, thank you, Amon, for hosting us today to discuss that very important subject, the impact of social media on elections, mobilization. Yes.
Interesting. We're going to have some minutes discussing the social media and how it is shaping the politics of this country. We have seen a social media that has opened space for more voices, fostering communication and greater participation, especially among the young voters and the young people. And you know, according to the statistics just recently, according to UBOS, they had their census and the results showed that the Gen Zs or the Generation Z or the youth are more compared to other other age brackets in the country. And when we talk about social media, we see that the youth are the most age group or the people in this country that are using and using the social media. But how can we then use the social media, or what is the impact of that social media, especially on the election campaigns and also engagement? We are into the season of elections and we are campaigning, and next year just we have 3 weeks to, less than 3 weeks, to the general polls where we're going to be choosing our leaders to take this country forward. Coming to you as a lawyer, allow me to start with you again, Oriko. What do we talk about the social media? How can we understand the impact of social media, especially when we talk about elections, campaigns, and voter engagement?
Thank you so much, our moderator. Social media is a familiar term to many of us. It is simply online engagements or virtual engagements, virtual way of communicating as compared to the physical. So when it comes to social media, we do not see physical persons, but we only see virtual persons. And the messages that are sent forth are also sent forth virtually. Currently in Uganda, we have a number of social media platforms. And I believe the most popular among the young people for now is TikTok. In terms of ranking, probably TikTok, X, WhatsApp, and then maybe Facebook. Facebook has kind of faded away since with the inception of TikTok. And according to Uganda Communications Commission, 77.8% of the internet users are actually people aged between 18 to 35, which is the young demographic of Uganda. You put an interesting question, that what is the impact of this social media in terms of elections and in terms of the law. Social media to me is a double-edged sword, and I know that in this discussion we shall really dive so much into it. It serves a positive purpose, but if used wrongly, it can also have devastating effects. On the positive, I'll just give one positive and then probably one negative, and then we move into the discussion. Social media currently is a way of having vast communication. Through social media, as young people, we have a voice. We have an engagement platform that allows us to send messages that can build our country and to send messages that can help us in choosing the best leaders. So for me, the number one advantage of social media is the platform that it gives. Now, on the flip side, this platform, as much as it can be advantageous, can also be a platform to propagate negativity. When we look at our social media right now, we can see that some people, especially as the young people, have come in to misuse it and use it as a tool of propagating hate and also misinformation. Currently in Uganda, we have laws that regulate the use of social media. Particularly, we have the Computer Misuse Act, and it is a law that comes in to check to make sure that us who are the social media users, we use it with caution. Yes, thank you
Interesting.
so much. Yes.
I come to you, Dan. In your view, how has social media changed the way Ugandans follow elections and in these campaigns? At least we started, is it in September? At least we have moved. How have you seen and observed the way how Ugandans are following the campaigns, especially in social media?
Thank you, Amon. The question posed to me is really very good. Social media has given a platform, an interactive, has given people an interactive platform where the voters and the candidates, the contestants, are able to interact directly. Yes, the voters pose questions. Questions are immediately answered by the contestants. So it has given the citizens an opportunity, a closer opportunity for them to interact directly with the candidates through the social media. And the other thing is that accountability. Yes, through social media, these leaders are being put to task, to account directly to the people on social media. Unlike the mainstream medias, where people could not, I could be on the TV, but the viewer cannot easily pose a question and get an instant answer. Yes. That has been great.
Thank you so very much. There'll gone are the days when we would only follow our candidates, political parties, and we watch them on TV and listen to them on radios. Or if we never had that platform, we would go on the lorries and be able to hear from them and have that physical interaction. But it seems now that social media has changed this, and we have the first-time voters, those that are going to vote for the very first time in their lives. Do you think social media has in any way influenced them to change their choices and also what they look forward to choosing their leaders?
Thank you so much, Amon. Changing their choices and what they... I would like to supplement, to start with what Brenda has been talking about. That social media can either build or destruct, depending on how the person who is propagating the information wants it to sink. So when you have a team that is appealing to emotional stress of the electorate, definitely I want to categorically make it clear here that when the person that is now mobilizing the team is propagating hate, social media will only amplify it. Because currently, as we speak, this country, there are challenges that it is facing, which are normal because they happen everywhere in any developing society. And then you have people who, there is unemployment, there are people who just possibly lost their jobs, and then all that kind of stuff. So if a candidate is appealing to that, at the end of the day, you are going to have an electorate that is going to take decisions based on emotions rather than reason or rather than truth. Today, the truth has been blindfolded by emotions because of the kind of politics that social media comes with, because it's not so much censored like what we are doing currently in here. Today, every citizen can become a journalist. That's why there are some teams that are mobilizing. There are people to tell, because today, I don't know whether you realize that in the tools of production of a country, there are very many of them. But today, social media comes as part of the tools of production. It is also a tool of attaining power. That one who commands social media well, or who appeals to the emotions of the electorate better, takes the day. So we will end up having a paradox of whether our people are going to make right choices, or that are going to propel this country ahead, or they are only going to listen to people who appeal to their emotions and take a decision blindly without considering the facts and the truths of how society moves forward. So there has been an impact. There are people who have really, I think all of us have heard about a gentleman called Lucy. He has categorically said, me, I am not going to come to the electorate. I'm not talking to them directly, because smart campaigns are there. People must continue doing their work. Let me demystify what I understand and how I think this country or my constituency is going to move forward. So such a candidate, to start with, has cut costs of this election. You get. So social media has a lot of its positives. We just have to see as a country how our people use facts as the only way to channel their message to the people, such that people make electoral decisions using facts.
Isn't that a concern that should worry all of us? Because Derek, if you say that we are opting for smart campaigns, to me, I would see as limiting the voter engagement, because at least the way I see Derek on TV may not be the same I see Derek physically, and how I would share that exchange physically may not be that effective when it is online. Do you see that limiting the voter engagement with their political parties, with their candidates?
I do not see it limiting. You know why? Okay, it could have a bit of a limit for those who are really who are so analog. They would feel that physical interaction is good, but trust me, a platform that provides a voter to directly discuss or even critique what the person who is intending to lead them is saying, to me, gives a voter an upper hand in holding that leader accountable, than one where we come on a rally and I am going to talk to people like I am preaching. And in any case, we will only have maybe one or two amongst them, and possibly they are just opinion leaders who will raise up their hands. But for example, you use TikTok, when somebody goes live, a voter is able to relay their frustrations directly to the person trying to contest. In any case, whether they see it today or not, at least their agents will see it. Rather than the other one is okay because it is what has been happening, but this is the new normal and we must shift. And if we shift, I think we have no problem.
I disagree with you.
Yes.
I disagree with you, Derek. Yes.
On what? On
the shifting to social media. I think we are a little more old school. I believe there should be a blend. In as much as we are saying, yes, let's have a digital shift, but apart from TikTok, if somebody is operating, let me say, an X account, how sure are you that it's actually your candidate and not his aide or somebody behind it, you know? Whereas if you come to the rally, I am seeing it, the Nigerians say eyeball to eyeball. You're looking at me, I am also looking at you. I am able to express myself more, and even your body language speaks to your electorate. So for me, I feel like it should be, I wouldn't entirely go for Lucy's approach. I think it should be a blend. And for people like us, especially Ugandans, we are still tiptoeing when it comes to social media engagements. For other jurisdictions, they could be steps and steps ahead of us. But us, we are still a growing tech generation. So if we decide to make a digital shift, we may be leaving other people behind.
Yes, Brenda, I agree with you. I was not totally saying that we should run. That's what I was saying. It is okay for those who are old school because it works with them really well. It augurs. But for example, TV, I would tell you as a matter of fact, the 70% of the young people that we are seeing today, even the millennials themselves, rarely watch TV. Few of them do watch TV. So the earlier you shift to that, the better. Then number two is that if you realize most of the young people who want to take decisions in politics that are going to affect society's progress are the ones that are in the working space, because they understand why they should vote, which policies work better, and who has expressed them better. These people rarely go to rallies. They do not go to rallies. They are rather staying at their workplaces. They would rather sit in an office, have their AirPods here, than watching somebody speaking their mind, and they take it. So if 70%, or according to UC's UBOS, it was talking about 35% of the voting age, of that is not coming to the rallies, then what do you expect of an electorate of people who do not know why they are voting, and they are the ones on the rally, and they actually do not even speak but rather just listen? So for me, I would think somebody listening from this other angle while they are doing their work, but also keep on making some comments and saying, according to how I see it, Brenda, you want this position, but this is not okay. I have engaged with you, Brenda, directly, very fast, without shifting, without nothing, and I will feel satisfied. And most times, these people take time and respond.
Interesting. It's where it's that, but I've also had more often people who hide their identity, especially online.
Yes.
You're talking about that engagement, that sometimes people share their views there, and you have that engagement with their candidates. But how do you trust those people that you are you're exchanging with? You'd find, especially I've seen it with the other gender of the Brenda, who have taken it serious to not put their names, real names there. You'd find that all the comments, all of them, they do not have the real names. Baby face, you see sugar manyahwat, and you can't know who exactly this person is. Should that then count it? Or sometimes it is limiting our engagement with our electorates.
You want me to respond to that? I want to say, for example, if Brenda is the one that is contesting, she will definitely put her names. For the electorate, actually, do you know that people speak their mind when they seem anonymous?
Yeah, but now
but that also limits them.
Yeah.
But of course you find that Amon, I have 6 accounts.
Yes.
And also Brenda has 6 accounts. Dan has 6 accounts. And you may think that all the likes you have, all the comments that you have are coming from 40 people. These are your followers. Okay. When actually there are 2 people on the same account.
Yeah, that is where I think.
Maybe have done come in and
yes,
use there.
My opinion on that is that it is twofold. One fold is that you will not be sure whether the true voters are really following your messages. So it is a gamble that someone has to take. But I think for Luze's case is that he has mastered the art that electorates at the moment, they are mostly money-minded, and is avoiding the element of costs involved. Okay, because when you meet these voters physically, twagala kyakunywa, tugulire y'amazzi, otulesotya. So sometimes if you are not stable, it is a problem.
But if you're behind the camera, you have saved yourself.
Yes,
the other person has spent on data.
Someone has paid for your data. You've not spent anything.
They're spending on you, right?
Yes. The only challenge is that you are not sure. One is that there are some people who are not on social media. So not everyone is going to follow you on any of these social medias. Then the other thing is that you yourself, there is that element of you say the face to face. Yes, there is that trust people develop when they meet you physically. Yes, so he misses that. Yeah.
Interesting, but also
I wanted to digest something that he has brought up of how, for example, if we take an example of Lucy, and then he avoids the issue of Otuleswotia or something like that. When you said he has mastered the art, this is what ran in my mind. I thought the art that he has mastered is that most of the voters now are more enlightened. They know that leaving them with 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 and they give you a vote at the end of the day that is going to make you last in the office for 5 years, and you ideally don't do anything. People are now so aware to that fact that he is now appealing to those who know that fact, and they are the elites in Kampala, and they know the 2,000 is not even going to take me, not even going to buy my lunch, but rather let me listen to the hard truth. So for me, I think he has mastered the fact that the electorate in Kampala is aware of that fact, and it is now looking for somebody who is going to distort that normal phenomena of coming and then leaving for them something small, and they cannot hold you accountable at the end of the day. That is what ran in my mind anyway.
Okay, that can be a discussion of another day. Brenda, do you think someone can gain popularity, gain votes, gain influence on social media, and that translates into the real winning on the D-Day of elections?
Well, that's interesting. Somebody can really gain a lot of popularity when it comes to social media, but I think that may not necessarily translate in you winning. You see, social media likes consuming what is on the trend. And social media, something, I don't know, that's also debatable, but the most news that is trending is usually negative news. It's usually where somebody is doing something funny, where there's a lot of drama. That can trend. So you can find somebody is trending so much in social media, but it doesn't necessarily translate to votes. However, I must acknowledge that social media has a very, very big impact in terms of popularizing something. And I want to take us back to our history of East Africa. When we look at the Rwanda genocide, for example, in 1994, one of the catalysts that made the genocide really to move so much was the influence of media. At that time, it was not social media, it was more of print media and audio media in terms of radio and newspapers. But when you look at the events leading up to the genocide, one of the factors that really, really propagated it was the role of media. So history tells us that media can influence, media can popularize. As human beings, we are so much consumers of media. Any news, we want to know, we want to know, we want to know, we want to know. So media goes a long way in popularizing something. But in Uganda, the culture of voting, I think that's also something that we shall talk about. As young people, probably in this election, we are going to see a different trend. Sometimes we take the back seat. In social media, we are the ones tweeting, we are the ones posting, we are the ones making noise for our candidates. When it comes to the actual day of voting, we do not go to make the lines. So to answer your question, the popularity on social media may not always translate into successful voting of candidates. Thank you.
Then does social media make or break candidates? We have seen Zoran Mamdan sweeping the votes in New York City and happens to be a new mayor in New York, which is one of the significant cities in the world. We have also seen people and presidents like President Donald Trump, who prioritized social media, but also happens to be the President of the United States of America. Does social media break or make leaders, especially, that is in the Western world, in the Ugandan environment, in the context of our country here?
Yes.
Can we rely on social media to make candidates?
I think to answer your question is yes. There are many candidates who are riding on social media to reach millions of people in a very shortest period of time with very less minimal cost, and really you see people supporting them. I would give also an example of my party. I subscribe to NRM. Previously, my party never took social media seriously, okay? But to date, when the party takes on the social media, we feel there is vibe, there is energy. Information has reached many people. They are getting to know what has the government done for them. Before, with mainstream, These are costly gadget TVs. You find a few people having television sets in their houses. But now the social media, the phones, almost 80% of Ugandans can access information. And most of this information is true. However, there's false information that goes around. And but if well used, well structured, it can influence the outcomes of an election.
Interesting. Derek, I come to you. You come from patriotism platforms and clubs or associations. Is it then possible to promote patriotism on social media, online, without turning partisan?
Thank you once again, Amon. Social media, or media itself, very many people use media to get different outcomes. If you want to gain public consent today, social media is the easiest way you can get to that. So it depends on how you want to structure this information without the way you're saying it being partisan and all that. This is about the people understanding their constitution and what happens then with the constitution. The constitution states it clearly that all Ugandans must be patriotic under the state objectives. But also in Article 17 it says Ugandans must undergo military training for the defense of the territorial integrity of Uganda and the constitution itself. So depending on how you want the people to get this kind of information, depending on how you influence the algorithms, because social media is more about algorithms. And today, depending on your likes as an individual, social media gives you accordingly. Brenda, depending on how she uses social media, if she is a lady, depending on the people she follows and the information she keeps on liking, in the morning she will receive the same information that she has been liking, which would be so different from me. I will mostly be looking at information pertaining engineering. I am seeing structural engineering and what, which will never appear on her For You page, because for her she is possibly receiving information about the law. The same applies to the doctor. So that is mostly to start with influence on ground, the way we do it with patriotism, have the people trained, talk to the young people in schools and all that, which will then influence their likes, such that when they come up to see something on social media that is in relation to what they have had while in the trainings of patriotism, it becomes easy for them to like. So then we can be able to feed them with such information. But also, like I said, being partisan, that is individual. But being nationalistic and patriotic is universal to all of us. So depending on how we have taught you, because we teach people, right now we have the government of the NRM in charge. And when it is in charge, we follow the agenda that it sets. And when it sets and it says, teach the people patriotism, that is non-partisan, we do that very, very well. Now, somebody after the training decides whether they really see which side to take, because usually we teach a lot of philosophy and how do you take decisions, how does society move forward, what makes you think a certain ideology works for your country or something like that. So being partisan is really, really individual to the person, but as patriotism, as a discussion itself, it is as non-partisan as it is supposed to be. But being partisan is okay for anyone. I teach it, but I will not come and tell you to subscribe to where I subscribe.
In the last election, 2021, government closed down Facebook operation in this country. Why? Because of misinformation. Have we learned a lesson after 4 or 5 years now, Brenda?
Thank you, moderator. Have we learned a lesson? To me, it is a big no with ears and eyes and a smile. The issue of misuse of social media is actually something that we can really debate, and it is something that is evident. Many young people, actually, if we are to make an analysis, we are misusing the social media. And as I said earlier on, Uganda has come up with laws. In 2022, an amendment was made to the Computer Misuse Act, and new elements were introduced therein. For example, there are certain offenses that you can be charged with under the Computer Misuse Act. For example, propagating hate speech, that is one. You can be fined and you can also be imprisoned, I think to a term not exceeding 7 years. There is also an offense related to misinformation. If you spread wrong information or information intended to be deceptive, you can also be charged under that act. And that act comes in to protect the way information is shared online. We have had people, and even youth, unfortunately, who have been culprits. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, there is a senior 6 student who was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment under the Computer Misuse Act for misinformation. He posted information online stating that the president was dead, and also insulting messages to certain individuals. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced. So some of us do this thing not knowing. You think you're simply expressing your freedom of speech. But I want to caution, especially as the young people, that make sure that whatever you post online is true information. If you post misinformation, if you post lies, if you post information intended to be deceptive, you are actually committing an offense, and you can be charged and sentenced and convicted of certain offenses. So have we learned? No, we haven't learned, because this is still a trend that is being propagated. When you go online, I don't know whether you have also been seeing what I've also been seeing. When it comes to TikTok, somebody is just chanting words with no reservation. You go to your WhatsApp and you see messages that have been forwarded so many times. Before you receive a message, you just forward. You don't even take time to say, okay, what information am I forwarding? Who was the author of this message? You just forward. And by the time the WhatsApp says forwarded many times, meaning this message has really been pushed forward, and it's upon you to check its authenticity. So our young people who are out there, let us be very cautious, especially during this time of elections, when we are propagating information. And particularly, allow me to talk about hate speech. It is an offense for you to propagate hate speech. If you prefer a particular candidate, perfect, campaign for that candidate, but do not send messages propagating hate against other candidates or candidates that you do not, whose ideology you do not prescribe to. Yes.
Then I come to you. How can an ordinary citizen verify political information before sharing it? She talks about forwarding messages even before actually most of the exciting messages. Ordinary Ugandans tend to innocently forward them without necessarily verifying them. To an ordinary citizen of this country, how can they say, this message, I'm not worth to forward it? Let me stop it there.
Amoni, to answer that question, it will be very difficult for an ordinary citizen to scrutinize this information and determine whether it is fact or not. given the AI, the coming of AI. Maybe what should be done.
But also, you know, that when I forward such a message, I am equally responsible
for what you forward.
Yes. Like my colleague Brenda said, the only way is you have to listen. You've got to listen to this message. Internalize, use you think about it, about the facts vis-a-vis what you know and what is being presented. Then you forward. I, for one, I never ever forward a message without reading it or listening it over and over to judge, personal judgment before I forward. Yeah, so I think the ordinary citizen, because there are some information that seems true, you really see the message and your judgment will say this is correct, let me forward. Yeah, but I think the regulators should devise a way of censoring some of these messages as they come in the feeds.
Yeah.
They should be censored before they are sent. Whichever information should be censored. Censorship could seem bad in the view of the human rights and but it is the ideal way to do the right thing, because there is a lot of misinformation which seems to be true, and really someone will be exonerated for sending some message because it is looks very true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Actually, Amon, just a small observation to really bring into perspective what he says. Sometimes you'll see a message. I don't know, you've been following.
Very eye-catching.
Yes, like you have been following. I saw a photo of Right Honorable Kadaga in the hospital. I think we saw that, many of us. And then she also, and then on her page, she's saying, no, she's actually fine. And personally, when I scrutinized the photo, it looked more of Photoshop. Because there were, anyway, if everyone should, that's why personal responsibility is important.
AI generated.
Yes, it looked, because the nurses almost had the same height, the same hair, the same composure. So sometimes to an ordinary person, somebody is saying, this is a photo of Brenda in the hospital. And then Brenda is sending a photo of herself in her house. So what do you believe? You, an ordinary Ugandan,
Sure.
which one do you take?
And to compliment on that, the way the Honorable has been appearing in the public, when you see such a message, definitely there is some sense telling you this could be true.
Okay. I remember some time back when we had news that one of the senior political party heads had died, and that message was really everywhere, and that could lead to some conflict and can cause serious issues, especially in different communities. Time is not on our side, but we still have a lot to talk about social media and its impact, especially during the campaigns. Derek, during elections is the time that is very sensitive, and also content creators and influencers are also targeting. But what should they be? What should they take it as a responsibility and be conscious that this is no go zone? Much as I need content, but I think this is worth my life. And in journalism, we say there is no news, there is no story that is worth your life.
Thank you, Amon, once again. You see, I think matters of national security should be very, very sensitive for any content creator. It's very okay for them to do whatever they want, but any issues pertaining national security should be out of their scope. I want to give us a background, okay, or what we were told and what we read about the genesis of TikTok and how it came to be. We are told it came from China, right? Now, it is believed that the Chinese government, because of the big population that it has, it decided to have TikTok as a platform for the young people, because it is not only in Uganda where unemployment is and people doing things are not seen. It's not only here, it's everywhere. So China decided to come up with an idea that is going to solve such a problem, because the bureaucracies of somebody being identified that they are doing something good had become hard. So they come up with an idea where their young people who are being innovative, as you know, China, a very innovative society, innovate, post your innovation, and then when it gets public attention and people like what you're doing, they identify you and pick you up because of that innovation and support accordingly.
Okay.
Now, here in Uganda, when you come in Uganda, Ugandans instead use it differently. Number one, for fun. A lot of dancing. If you do not dance, you will not go viral, you will not trend. Number two, hate speech. One of the bloggers or these online influencers, forgetting his name, was just released on bail because of abusing full figure or something.
Shalom.
Yeah, Shalom. And by the time he came out, he was very bitter with it. He is very bitter now, but he was taken because of hate speech and trying to do that. You get. Then did you remember when the president was submitting about the Indian Ocean and all that? Then they clipped 30 seconds of his speech and said the president now wants the Indian Ocean, without having it in full context.
Yes.
Okay, when he said we shall have wars.
They started redrawing the map of the
Exactly, and they even gave us a canal how we are going to arrive there, because to them they just pick something as long as it suits their agenda.
Okay.
Forgetting about matters of national security, because something like that can erupt into a very serious issue with our brothers.
Thank you. Brenda, you happen to be a lawyer. But when you can guide our society, friends, and also family members, in a case I sense this is misinformation or this message carries some false information, where should we report it? What should we do as Ugandans?
Okay.
How should we treat that message? Not spread, not cause harm.
Thank you so much, moderator. Personal responsibility.
First.
Number one, personal responsibility. As doctor has put it, why do you forward something that you're not the author of, or that you are not sure of the authorship? So personal responsibility is one. If a message has come to you, or in a group chat, you read a message, first of all, do you need to forward it in the first place? Okay. If you don't need to, then let it end there. And then two, after you have read it and you're not certain of the truthfulness in that message, why then do you forward? You let it end with you. Let you kill it there. However, if you are a victim and somebody has written something offensive about you, you can pursue it legally. You report the matter to police, and then if investigations are concluded, the file is forwarded to the state attorneys, and a case is made up against the person who authored such information. So as young people, let's be vigilant. Let's be vigilant. Also, don't sit on your rights. If somebody has defamed you online, please, you can take it up. You can take it up, because if we build a culture of complacence, then people don't know the repercussions of their actions. But if we have people who are being held responsible legally for their negative actions, then others are deterred from committing such crimes. Thank you.
Interesting. Time is not on our side. I would request your parting shots. I will start with Daniel, but also in your conclusion, how should patriotic citizens debate politics online?
how patriotic citizen debate politics online. Yeah, I think it starts with. I want to draw you shortly back on the issue of on the issue of misinformation, the perspective of medicine. Misinformation is like someone consuming a fake drug that can kill you, can ruin your life, and if someone takes the correct drug, means you'll have preserved your life and you'll be healthier. So I want to reiterate my earlier statement that the government has the duty to regulate what is being consumed on these medias. I don't know how the local citizen participate in political debates. I think platforms are already there, and people, we are engaging people on a daily basis on these platforms. So it's about encouraging them to join the social media and yes, and follow the programs therein. Thank you, viewers, for listening to us, and thank you, Amon, for hosting us today.
Brenda, your last comment?
My dear Ugandans, let us use social media responsibly, and let us avoid propagating hate speech, let us avoid propagating misinformation, and let us only share information that is constructive and can build us as a nation. Thank you so much.
Derek?
I would like to let the nation know that social media has changed how politics is done in Uganda, and 70% of our population today accesses information, especially on politics, through social media. So Karl Marx tells us that whenever you have a solution, that solution brings about a new contradiction. There is a gain in making sure that we have our people now get information so easily through social media platforms, but we have an issue of misinformation. That is now the current contradiction that we must answer as a young people, and therefore, for that matter, let's all engage in this election responsibly and mindful of the outcomes that it comes with. Thank you so much.
One thing is very clear, social media is not going away. It is very important. It can connect, it can inform, and it can also mobilize people in great numbers and powerful ways. But also it can divide, it can mislead, it can misinform. It is how we are going to use it. Until next time, same station, same program, The State of Affairs ends now. It was a privilege having you, Gidong, Derek, Rico Brenda, and Dan Kagaha at Waire, coming from Patriotism Associations. We were discussing the impact of social media on election campaigns and engagement. I'm Pedro Amon of Tega, and until next time, for God and my country, allow me to sign out.
Don't miss on U24.
Entrepreneurs Hub, giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT, and innovation, industrialization, and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium, and large business entity. With yours truly, Sandra Kahunde.